What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What is good, YouTube? I was going to do separate videos for separate trades and pickups, but since it really wasn't no big trade that really was bigger than Mike Conley or Anthony Davis in this draft, it was just a bunch of people moving around and moving small pieces like TJ Warren. So I'm just going to go through 1 all the way to 20 like I did with my mock draft, and I'm just going to talk about how I feel about the draft. Now that the top 30 is out, I'm just going to cover the top 20. As I'm speaking right now, Bol was a guy I had going in the top 15, and he hasn't even went in the top 30 at this point because it's almost to the 40s. But that's the biggest drop besides Nasir Little that we really expected to be a lottery pick that didn't make it right now. The Pelicans, Zion, that was an obvious pick. This is the best player in the draft, has huge ceiling with that body and that rebounding ability and his physicality. Plus, he's only a teenager. He can get better, and he will. He's a workhorse. He got to this point because of the work he put in. The Pelicans seem like they got their franchise guy. They made major moves in this draft to surround him with youth while still having some veterans. I still don't know how their roster going to be, just like a lot of these other teams, because free agency hasn't even hit yet. So we only can focus on what they have right now. And Zion is the best talent available, the guy with the highest upside to me in this draft. And he can be a two-way player if, he gets the right coach and the right system to utilize his strengths. So I think that's the best pick right now as of today. We thought Ja Morant would go number 2, and he did. They get rid of Mike Conley. That was a sign that they're going to try to go in a different direction. I told this to a lot of people. I like Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson because they bringing in a new era. They bringing in space and pace and having fun out there. Ja Morant will be a superstar for the Grizzlies. He's going to be must-see TV just like he was when he was in the lower college that nobody cared about until he started putting on these shows to the point he got a lot of attention. And I think that he's going to do that in Memphis. This is a team that needs somebody to be exciting, needs somebody to inject juice into the crowd. And I'm saying that because they came from grit and grind. They was known for being slow and ugly and beat you up. This is a generation right now where everybody wants to have fun, get to the basket, shoot a lot of threes, and make a lot of fancy plays. And when Zion does that for the Pelicans, and you can say the same thing about the Grizzlies getting Ja Morant. The Knicks getting R.J. Barrett, he wanted to be in New York. It seemed like coming up to the draft that he might not be there because they wanted to trade down, and then I heard that they rejected it. Then I heard that they was going to keep him. Then I heard that they can keep him and trade him. So if they don't keep R.J. Barrett, you know why. They feel like they can get another asset depending on what free agent they get. But RJ is a baller. He's a hooper. He goes out there and perform. He goes out there on any level, and I think he'd be successful in the NBA, even if he's not with the Knicks. But they got the best talent available, a guy with an upside and a guy that really competes, especially on the offensive end. He's virtually unstoppable. Just wait till you get a jumper, and we might see that throughout this season of RJ having some very memorable games in his freshman year. You look at the Hawks getting DeAndre Hunter. I said the Hawks would try to move up. I didn't really like Cam Reddish, and if they couldn't get R.J. Barrett, which they couldn't because the Knicks was sold on that third pick coming into the draft, but DeAndre Hunter fits what they trying to do. I'd rather have Hunter. Honestly, it's gonna sound like a diss. I'd rather have Hunter than Reddish. Reddish, he has some minor injuries, but he also has upside. Hunter, you know what you're getting. You're getting a 3-and-D guy. You're getting a guy that can knock down shots, and he has potential to get better. Cam Reddish is more all of a potential. Hunter, you know what he is right now, and you know what he can bring to the table. They don't really have wings that play defense after they got rid of Prince, and Ken Bazemore is not the defender that he used to be. This is something that they need, a guy that can switch, a guy that can knock down shots, and a guy that can play with Trae Young because he can play off the ball too. I think that's a great selection for them. I was a little confused with the Cavaliers picking Darius Garland because Colin Sexton is a smaller guard. He's not big. He's not intimidating. He's not the best finisher. He did improve his off-ball skills more than I thought going into summer league. I seen the potential, and he proved us all wrong about his shooting in a regular season. Can he hold up and do it again? That's going to be a question. But Garland can shoot. He can create. But can he do it on the highest level of competition with better athletes, better mobility, and they're gonna switch bigger guys on him. So I just want to see how he holds up and can he really be an efficient scorer on this level. But if you're going based off talent, he probably was the best talent available. But if you're going based off fit, I think they could have went in a different direction. And the direction I thought they was going to go in was Culver. But the Wolves picked him up by moving up in the draft. I think this was a good pick to put somebody with with Andrew Wiggins and Towns. They need somebody that can really play off the ball and still be a threat. And I like Culver. I felt like he'd go higher, but I didn't feel like he was going to drop out the top 8, and he didn't. The Wolves get a guy that can fit, but they also still do have Robert Covington. I think a lot of people forgot that they had Covington, a guy that can switch, play multiple positions, shoot threes. They might move Covington to the 4, depending on if they really want to go that direction. But having another guy that's a wing that can really do two-way things, possibly, you can't complain about that. Kobe White, I thought he'd go to the Suns, but obviously the Suns traded down, so I guess they wasn't sold on Kobe White. The Bulls pick him up. They have Zach LaVine, a guy that can handle the ball and score. Chris Dunn is a defender, but he never really lived up to the hype as a defender or as an offensive player. They get a guy that can create a lot of attention, a guy that can shoot and put a lot of pressure on the defense. So I like Kobe White going to the Bulls. They need somebody that can attack. They need somebody that can score. And he is going to have to improve his passing because he got a lot of shooters on his team and he got a lot of floor spacing. So he should be able to get to the basket. He should be able to create some chaos, but he still has to learn his decision making got to improve, his shot selection got to improve, and at the same time, he is young. He has years to develop, and they got a hard-nosed coach. So I think that should be able to fix him. The Pelicans get Jackson Hayes. I like this because you needed a big, especially after losing Anthony Davis. He's not the best big that you can get, but in this draft he is. Plus, you didn't really have to give up much because you didn't really see nobody that you wanted, and you have a lot of positions filled after the trade. Plus, you have a lot of assets, so you get something that you need, and you get a guy that has continually improved every time he plays basketball and every year. So that's what you want to go with Zion, somebody young and somebody that can grow with him, somebody fit with him. Rui, we all projected that he'd go ninth. This is not a surprise. I don't think that he's going to like being in Washington if Bill is gone because he's not going to really be able to get the easy shots. But if Bill is there or they can find somebody else to go help them out, I think he can get that glue guy role where he can knock down shots, get out in transition, keep the ball moving. And I think that's the way he should start his career, not trying to do too much and just doing enough to keep you on the court. He is a little raw. He do have a higher ceiling, so I don't blame the Wizards for picking him up. And he's cheaper than Otto Porter and Jabari Parker, and he can fill their role. Hawks get Cam Reddish. I was a little iffy on this, but we all thought that was going to happen eventually. Obviously, I like the pick in the beginning, but if you're going to replace Prince and uh, Prince and I just said his name, but when you're gonna replace him, Prince, since you traded him, and then you're gonna try to eventually replace Bazemore, I think you have a guy with some upside. Cameron Johnson going to the Suns. This is a guy that can come in and contribute right away, and that's what the Suns need. They got a lot of their position filled. They got a lot of things they got to do with their youth and see who's going to stay, who's going to go, who they're going to build around, and who they want to keep. And that's going to be the next 2 years for them as a lot of their players go into restricted free agency. So they got to start figuring that out. And Cam Johnson can hoop. PJ Washington, we kind of figured that he'd go in this range. And the Hornets picking up a lot of access and a lot of wings. And I really want to know what they're going to do with the rest of this team as we continue to go on throughout this season of seeing if Kemba going to stay or go. Picking up Miles Bridges and Malik Monk. And you already got Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I think they just went for best talent available and the person that they like the most. And that's P.J. Washington, obviously. The Heat getting Tyler Hero, I thought he would drop in the draft. But for him to go up to 13th, that he had to really like him. He's a guy that can create off the dribble a little bit, that can shoot the three, can play on and off the ball, and that's what you want. And he honestly do need consistent shooting. I don't know if Hero can shoot consistently on the NBA level because we haven't seen it, but it is good to see that they wasn't scared to go for it. The Celtics taking Romeo Langford. I was a little disappointed because he's a little streaky. He's a little hot and cold. Plus, we already got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart. We got an abundance of guards and wings. I didn't really feel like we needed more. But when you look at that, this draft is just filled with just wings and guards all throughout the draft. And if you just look at like from 8 to now, that's all you see getting drafted. So I feel like the Celtics went with somebody that they like and somebody that has some value, even if they don't want to keep him. Sekou, I think this was a little risky because he's not really what they need right now. And with them having the trade to get this pick, I think he's a guy with potential. You can say the same thing about Thon, but you have Blake Griffin, you have Andre Drummond, and Reggie Jackson. You have to figure out who you want to keep, who you want to get going because they in salary cap hell, and I don't think Sekou helps them right now. I think he helps them in the future, but not right now. So I do want to see what the Pistons do. Since they did make that Blake Griffin trade and his contract is high, even though he was an All-Star, All NBA player, Sekou don't help them. Sekou don't help them now. So I want to see what they do in the future with the rest of these picks that they get in the future if they continue to be an A4 out of the playoff team with the roster that they have right now. I think the Magic took a guy that has potential that can really produce right now, in my opinion. And they're young. They got folks. If they can keep Vucevic and Aaron Gordon, I think that they're going to continue to try to build on the young talent they have, but still being able to compete. And if that's the case, they should be a playoff team. And these players can be good role players. And I think when you get through 16 to 30, a lot of these guys either got upside or they're going to be what you need right now to produce. And that's why I like the Pelicans picking up a guy that can come in right now and produce, whether he's a starter, whether he's a bench player. And with Nickel, he can really hoop, and he has a lot of potential to be a two-way player because of his size and length. But he also has the ability to be a outstanding playmaker. But I definitely want to see what they go. Is they going to keep Drew Holiday? They're going to keep Lonzo. I think the Pelicans got so much talent and so many assets that they really got to figure out what they want to do, what identity they trying to do, and what they're going to try to run because they have a lot of young talent. It's just about finding the ones that fit and finding the ones you really want to keep because you ain't going to be able to pay everybody, and you don't want to get in that situation where you're forced to trade somebody like we've seen with the Thunder and other teams. Is either you lose them or you trade them, and then you got to try to replace that talent anyway, which is hard to do in a trade because usually who get the best player is the one that wins the trade. So the Pelicans got a lot of assets, but I really want to see how they put a team together this offseason. The Pacers get Goga. They got Miles Turner. They did need a backup big, in my personal opinion, that can really be skilled, and he is that guy to go along. He can play big with him and Miles Turner, or you can give Miles Turner a break and still have a guy, or you can just trade Miles Turner because he does have a lot of value and he is on a good contract. And I heard some trade rumors about him already, which we could get into later. But this is a guy that can replace him, not defensively, but offensively. They can do similar things. But Miles Turner still do have a higher upside if he had that wanted, dominated mentality. He'd be one of the best players in the league, but that's not the case. The Spurs take Luka. That's something that we know they look overseas, they watch all the talent, and they always go with the guys that work hard, believe in themselves, and want to be pushed. So this could be a steal or a sleeper pick, depending on 2 to 3 years from now. I don't think he's ready now, but we know how stern the Spurs are, and we know how they focus on winning. So I think that this will be one of those pickups that you look at and you just like, that could be something crazy for them in the future. And then same with the Sixers. I don't think this guy, Thibault, he gonna get a lot of playing time right away because the Sixers are in win now playoff mode, and I don't really think that he's gonna be able to give them great 15 to 25 minutes right now and contributions in Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid minutes unless a major injury happened, which is possible because they both had major injuries. But other than that, I think Thibault not going to get that much playing time, and he's not going to really contribute right away. He could be something that could be seventh, eighth, ninth guy, but he's not going to get the playing time right away because they didn't win now mode with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and their first priority is bringing Jimmy Butler. And if that's the case, that's going to be your team for the next 3 to 4 years, and that means you're going to either have to keep those guys, move one of those guys, and if they don't get moved or get traded, that's the guy they're going to go with. And if they stay healthy, I don't really see him getting major minutes. honestly and truthfully. But I like this lottery. And I even went further with the next five, the top 20. I like a lot of these players. I feel like they're going in the right direction. A lot of these players have potential. They're mostly going to be role players and glue guys, but you need those. Those are important. You see how important that is with a lot of these players, like Draymond Green being a superstar role player, being able to do a lot of things. Like you look at Nikolai, you look at Goga, you look at even Kevin Porter, or even guys like DeAndre Hunter and Jared Culver. You look at guys also like Tyler Hero and Romeo Langford. A lot of these guys might not be superstars, but they might be all stars, and they might be guys that can make winning plays on a good team. And if they get a right role and the right coach, they can be something special for teams. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Thanks for everybody that likes on Facebook. Thanks for everybody that likes the videos. Thanks for everybody that comments. I like the activity that you guys have shown. I answered comments that make sense, if that makes sense. And also, at the end of the day, if you like this video, check out my older videos on my channel. I have many playlists. I break down rookies. I break down players. I break down summer league. I do cover the draft, and I got a mock draft up already. Not only that, I do podcasts, and I also talk about the game of basketball, whether it comes to summer league, free agency, trade deadline, buyouts, and also I cover top 10 discussions and stuff like that. So you like this type of video, you like the NBA, check out my older videos and my playlists. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching. I'm gone.